The last year has been the most wicked year in this country's history. Because right now, this world, it all belongs to Satan, doesn't it? The Bible calls him the God of this world many times. The God of this world with a small g, of course. And you've only got to look into the world to see what it's like. A world governed by Satan is a world where we call abortion a human right. Not cold-blooded murder, which is what it is. We call it a human right instead. We call it healthcare. A world where sin is celebrated, no longer rebuked, but now celebrated, and then persecuting those who still call it sin. That's a world governed by Satan, isn't it? The last year has been the most wicked year in this country's history. Look at the godless decisions that have been made in the last month or two. This country has now become known as the country of death because we support death rather than life. Assisted dying is not going to be assisted dying, it's going to be compulsory dying. That's where it's going. And now we think it's acceptable to murder babies full term. 24 weeks is not enough, even though that's still cold-blooded murder. We now want it full term. Again, the scepter of wickedness resting on the land of the UK. But it says that it shall not rest on the land. In other words, it's not going to remain on the land forever. Whether that's Israel or whether it's the UK or whether it's the US, the scepter of wickedness is not going to rest on the land. In other words, one day it is going to come to an end. It shall not rest on the land. The land has been allotted to the righteous, tells us that. In other words, one day that scepter, the scepter of wickedness, is going to be destroyed, isn't it? Because there is another kingdom coming. The Bible speaks of another scepter. We see this in Psalm 45 in verse 6. You don't have to turn to it, but in Psalm 45 verse 6, it says, "Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of your kingdom." And you'll see that verse quoted in Hebrews chapter 1 verse 8 as well. So it talks about two scepters there, doesn't it? The scepter of wickedness and the scepter of righteousness. There's two. There's not a third one. These are the two that we have to choose from. The kingdom of God or the kingdom of Satan, the kingdom of light or the kingdom of darkness. There's not a third one. There's no middle ground. Two scepters, two kingdoms, and that means there's two kings as well.